isn't that quite a letter? Norm?
I didn't even get halfway through the second paragraph. It's just too...
Oh, okay. Would you like a copy of it?
I'm sure I've got
Put yourself to sleep sometime.
I'll get it off the
I
email.
double-checked the math, and
Oh,
we're all
okay.
set.
So you can have it back if you'd like.
I'd like to open this meeting of December. We are December already. December 1st, 2011. Let the record show that Selectman Dawson and Selectman Jetsman are not present. Just to read to you. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to enter into non-public as per RSA 91A:3, personnel, C.
Second?
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
I got it. Ron?
I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to personnel permanently.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You can open the door.
Okay.
Just so you'd have it. I don't know if it comes up or not.
Oh, Matt,
Glant. And that also included like emergency lighting in this area, which we don't have, and emergency exit signs. Repeating stores here.
where's the door? Oh, here.
Right here. Because we don't have any emergency lighting or emergency signs over there. So I think that's something we'd have to do even if we didn't do the walls. So that's why he kind of quoted it down the bottom. So if we don't do any of that, that's just to get the emergency stuff.
Okay. Okay. Selectmen's minutes. (11:1) and what is that? 10:6.
This one that just got missed at some point along the way, or are we still that far out?
Okay, I make a motion that we take the minutes of 10:6 to the floor for approval and discussion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. On page 3, about quarter of the way down, Chair Constantino asked if the water district is using it. They have no percentage of ownership. So I think there's a question there. If I ask something, there should be a question there. Perhaps maybe it should be Chair Constantino asked if the district is using the tanks, why do they have no percentage of ownership?
A little further down, Joyce says, Joyce said if the water district wants to become an owner, they can, and they are willing to do so. I don't understand what that's saying.
They can become an owner, but as far as I know, that they aren't planning on becoming an owner.
It's owners in terms of the water.
I know that, but the way that sentence reads, that if the water district wants to become an owner,
Right.
okay, they can. No, it still doesn't make
It
sense.
should say if they want to become and are willing to become, then they could become.
Yeah,
It's just, it needs to
the
be...
way it's written is a little bit awkward.
Yeah,
If the water district wants to become an owner, they can.
yes,
They can.
Yeah,
right, period,
and leave out the willing to do so because
right,
you put a clause in there, if.
right.
It doesn't make sense. Chair Constantino asked how you become a user, and the user receives all the rights of an owner.
Shouldn't it say the Chair Constantino asked how you become a user, and does that entitle you to all the rights of the owner?
Right. Catherine? That same paragraph, a couple of sentences down, Chair Constantino asked how you become a user.
I think the chairman asked, why a user receives all the rights of an owner. That was your question, the distinction. Users had all the rights of the owner.
Right.
So how should it read?
Why do users receive all the rights of an owner?
Okay. That works.
Why do users
Why do users
receive all the rights of an owner?
receive all the rights of the owner? Of an owner.
Yeah, that's better.
Yes. Yeah, because really, when you think about it, even now, when you sit and read it, you think, well, why do you have to be an owner if you can do everything they can do?
On page 4, second paragraph from the bottom, the board discussed replacing the water heater. It's not a thankless on demand, it's tankless.
I think many readers for many years would appreciate that word left in.
Because it's a thankless job. It's a tankless job.
Chris is gonna look into it, get prices. For thankless one.
Oh, we're losing her already, and it's not even 5:30. Oh, this
Oh,
is
it continues, it says Joyce will look into this and get prices.
for the thankless tank.
For thankless tank. Does not have a conceptual plan. Does not have. On page 5, the very top, it says, starts on page 4, it says, after discussion, Chair Constantino asked to have a letter sent to them informing them that the town of Tilton does not have a conceptual plan yet for Phase 2, and they have not met their burden. Not met their burden on any of their zoning issues. Have not met their burden yet. I would leave out yet, I think. And also on the second sentence, just after it says Phase 2, and they have not met their burden, and just scratch out yet. I don't think you need it in there, on any of their planning and zoning issues.
In the next paragraph, Chair Constantino read a report of failed monitoring from the Tilton Water District. I think it would clear up the sentence if you put failed water quality monitoring.
Any other corrections, concerns, or comments?
I move we accept the minutes as corrected for October 6th.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is that a typo, or do we actually have minutes from 10:12? Okay,
Okay, well, I'd
11:1.
like to make a motion to bring the minutes of November 1st, 2011 to the floor for discussion and approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, the only thing that was missing on this is we didn't have the times, and I gave those times to Joyce at the public session. We convened this public session at 9:30 in the morning, and at the bottom it says the meeting adjourned at 10:30. that went along with, we had a non-public that day as well, and we recessed, if you will, to take care of these public matters, but she was missing the times.
So it should be 9:30 and 10:30?
Yeah, we spent about an hour discussing those two issues and going over the proposal with Mr. Holy, because he was here.
Right.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve these minutes with the times added for beginning and adjournment for November 1st, 2011.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I have to remember to say aye. Agree. Okay. Okay, Joyce, you're up.
I apologize, I didn't have an opportunity. I started to type up my report, but I didn't get finished. But I really don't have that much for tonight. First of all, these go in the Noise Road folder. That's the only one. Just to follow up on the 307 Main Street, I had emailed Bill Lambert and Mark Morrill again. I believe I copied the board on this, is that they're still in the data collection stage, primarily waiting for current survey so they can make an informed decision on this issue. We realize that the town and the business owner are anxious to resolve this issue. Glenn Smith emailed me yesterday. The Northfield Selectmen had reviewed the island proposed maintenance and repair budget. They didn't have any problems with it. They aren't meeting on December 6th, so they will be meeting on the 13th, which is the day before we make our budget presentation. Did you still want to meet with the Northfield Selectmen?
It's planning board night.
Planning board.
I mean, the rest of the board can go, but I can't.
Well, is that a John Menard night?
But, yeah. I'm on the weekends.
Could we schedule it on a contingency that if we,
Is it possible to meet with them another day, say during the daytime, if they don't want to work, or, make arrangements to sit down with them at another time? Not necessarily a night when we would have a meeting. Because I think it's important we get this worked out before we go over our budget with the budget committee.
perhaps maybe Monday, the 12th, maybe?
Yeah. Maybe you can just call and talk to Glenn and see if he can arrange.
Because the 13th is a really big night for planning board.
Yep.
14th is our night for
Budget.
submitting the budget with all the department heads. 15th is our selectmen's night, so. And then they don't meet again until after our budget, so.
Well, it's my understanding they were fine with what was proposed.
For the island, but
For the
weren't we
island.
going to meet with them for something
We're going to
else?
discuss the
Capital Reserve.
capital reserve for fixing the front of the island.
Right.
what we have budgeted now is sufficient for Tilton's share. More than sufficient. We really only need $1,750, but we left it at the 2,000.
Right. Well, we understand that, but we still would like to go and sit down with them,
Oh, for the retaining wall.
right, for the retaining wall, and also to go over the budget items in case they have any questions, and just make sure we've touched base on everything so that, it doesn't present a problem later.
In the email to him, I had also resent the information about the sign, the plaque,
Right.
because before she can go ahead and order that, she needs both towns'
It's
permission.
right,
Yep.
it's
So,
going to take some time.
yeah. I still haven't been out there to take a look at it. It's something I want to do.
Well, maybe they can meet, if they can't meet with us, maybe some of us can go on the 13th, but we'd really prefer to have all of us there.
Right.
That would be,
Yeah, I don't think it would take
unless
that
we
long.
went earlier,
Meetings,
Tuesday.
planning starts 6:30.
6:30. but
Can they come here on the 7th when we're meeting? I mean, we always run over there.
Yeah. And they could, yeah, that'd be the other thing. Can they come over here
On the 8th,
7th?
you mean?
On the 8th?
On the
On the
Thursday?
8th, yeah, on the
Yeah.
Thursday.
We'll ask. I think it's, you're right, it's good
Yeah.
neighbors, at least once a year,
Right.
especially now, at budget time, you guys should sit down and
Do
talk.
we have anything right at 4:30?
On the 8th?
We'll fit them in at any time they come in. They can come in. Well, we don't have a specific time for him though, right? Okay, well, we can, if they can make it, because I know some of them work.
Okay.
Now, if they can, that's a great idea. If they can make it on the 8th, that would be perfect. If not, maybe we can come up with a mutually agreed upon time that we can
Yeah.
meet. I'd really hate to see, or even earlier than Tuesday, earlier on their meeting,
Yeah, on
and
the
then,
meetings.
so that you can get out of there by 6.
Yeah, because I have to.
Be over here by,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, the next thing is on December 14th, I've moved their monthly staff meeting up a week, because it just is too close to Christmas week.
Okay.
And Tammy Croft has left. She's taken a position with Delta Dental. So temporarily, Melissa Briggs has been assigned as our rep. So her and our new safety coordinator
Yep.
will be meeting at 9 o'clock on that date.
Okay.
And so
December 14th?
December 14th, so we put a notice out to all the department heads and also for them to talk to their employees if they have any questions about our program, our coverages, or need to make any changes, that they're welcome to come
On what day?
December 14th at 9 o'clock.
9 a.m.
I thought you said you moved it from September 14th.
No, it's normally the third Wednesday of the month, so I moved it up.
21st.
I moved it up.
Why, are you busy on that?
Well, we have the DOT that day, we have budget that day. It's just a busy month.
Yeah, it is.
And this is dental,
Our health and dental.
health and dental.
Yeah, I don't think that portion is going to take very long, because if people have individual questions, they can meet with them after
9 a.m.,
9.
9 a.m.
okay. Got it.
And then in the to-be-signed folder, and I would like to do 2 of them, is the actual renewal form for the medical coverage and the dental coverage.
Well, I started to sign one, and I'm not sure I signed this in the right place, though.
Where it says for the employer, would be where the selectmen sign.
We should all sign there, though, and it's not.
And the other thing I would like, if the board could make clear, that we're showing that the JY plan, but I'd like the board to formally vote that we will no longer be offering that plan. We have one retiree who is still receiving it, so that person's grandfathered. But as far as any other employees wanting to enroll in it, I'd like to just take that off our form that goes inside our personnel policy and our collective bargaining agreement.
Sign down here.
I'm just under my name, yeah.
I think I would make a motion to that effect.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion of not offering the JY health insurance any longer?
That it, you done?
Yeah.
You're looking for a yay?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
You ended that like you weren't quite finished.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the end.
I don't know if you recall, but ever since we went to this program, we have an attachment that's in the personnel policy and in the collective bargaining agreement, and it lists those 3 plans, so now I can officially remove that from our plan, and also notify the employees. No one will be impacted.
Great.
This is for me to sign.
No, okay.
Okay, I've started to receive the stipends requests. We'd like to pay these the second pay period of December, and it takes a little while to process all these, so as I'm getting them, I would like to have the board approve these. The only one I don't have is the Conservation Commission yet, or the Parks Commission, and I spoke to both Chuck and Bob, and they said they'll be getting them to me as soon as possible. So here's the Budget Committee, the Trustee of Trust Funds, this is the ZBA, and this is the Planning Board.
Did she get her questions answered on?
She did. The chairman, you mean? The Planning Board?
No. She had asked me questions, and I was going to bring it up for discussion tonight because I just wasn't sure. We had 2 board members leave.
Right, and what the chairman is proposing, that since they did attend, their attendance is there,
Okay.
that they be paid, and also the individual that had missed meetings, for the majority of the meetings that he missed, he was excused. He did notify the board,
Okay,
and she signed off on that.
all right.
But this way, Tim can go ahead and at least get the information entered into the system.
Right.
Why would we... Why would it be up to her to find out whether or not who should get them and who should not get them? I don't understand that.
What do you mean?
Why would
Well,
it be up
it's
to...
ultimately up to the Board of Selectmen, but we each, chairman of their committee, they manage their committee.
Generally speaking, in the past, when I had that office, you would write down all the names of the people that were on the board, and although the so-called procedure changed a couple times over the years, basically I would give that list to the chairman of the board, and they would go over it and sign off if they agreed with what I had written there, or they would, we would talk about what they didn't agree with, and once it was signed off, then it was turned into finance to be taken care of. Or I guess it came to the selectman's office and went to be paid.
So I don't understand. Okay, never mind. Keep my mouth shut. Spam.
So either the board can just initial those pages, or just make a motion to approve the ones that have been submitted today.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve all the ones that have been submitted, which includes planning, zoning, trustee of the trust funds, and
Budget.
budget.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have to remember to get Joanna to submit hers for the sewer commissioners. But that doesn't come out of our budget.
No, for Joanna.
I know, she has a
But this-
stipend for that?
No, her sewer commissioners. She submits them for her sewer
Oh, the
commissioners.
sewer commissioners
Yeah, they
get a
get a
stipend for the sewer
1,000 a year.
commissioners.
So I can't forget that.
1,000 a year?
That's what they voted. They could vote themselves 10,000 a year.
wouldn't want it. Well, we could too, whether or not it goes to town meeting or not is another thing again,
It's not gonna fly.
but no, I don't think so either.
Okay, speaking of the sewer commission, one of our rental properties, our tax-deeded rental properties, when I received the sewer bill, because the property's in the name of the town, I sent them the sewer bill and said that they were responsible for paying it. It has not been paid, and it's late now, so at the end of the year, what the sewer commission does is she turns over all of her sewer bills that are going to lien. The town purchases them. So since this is the town that owns it, rather than have them have to go through all that paperwork
Right.
to lien it, if we could just pay this and charge it against our tax deeded property.
And then we get reimbursed when we sell it.
Well, before it goes back to this person, if they fulfill their payment agreement,
Oh,
this
okay.
gets tacked onto that.
I see it.
They're two
Figure
the
out
same
which
thing.
one. What is, oh, I see on the bottom, I got it. Okay.
Okay, so, all right, we'll have to cut a check. We can't just do a transfer, so, because
Can
we
we
want a paper
notify
trail.
him, can we notify them that,
This has been added to their,
right, we have to somewhat way legally notify that those
Because they
charges.
failed to pay it, we have paid it, and they will be added to their,
Are the dates prior to when we deeded the property, all of them, all of the dates?
no, one is, well, what happens is in our system, it gets wiped out. This is all 4 quarters for 2011.
So 2 of those should have been taken care of and weren't.
So it's half of that.
Well, no, because it's separate. It's totally separate.
Okay, we,
Just because we deeded it didn't extinguish the amount in her records.
Right.
in arrears, so that's what we're saying, though, but once it's deeded into ours, it's our responsibility to pay the, once it's in our name, we need to pay the bill.
Right.
But in this particular case, they didn't take care of what was,
Of anything for 2011. So they owe the town the whole amount.
yeah.
So now that it's in the town of Tilton, can I see that for a second? They're actually going to lien the town of Tilton?
No, we purchase the liens.
Yeah, we purchased it.
We buy them.
Outstanding on your account. Please be advised, the RSA and all sewer permits not paid on the That's the,
after those liens have been purchased, then we lien them?
They get folded in with our property tax lien.
Right.
But if the property taxes are paid up,
you see what they're...
an individual whose property taxes are paid up, but the sewer bill isn't,
And we could still take their property if they don't pay their sewer bill. It's the same with a betterment assessment. They could have all their property taxes paid up, but if they don't pay their betterment assessment, we can still go through the tax deeding process.
to think I could lose my property because I didn't pay my sewer bill.
Well, they're not, because we'll take care of it before.
If we owned, they would.
See, water bills you don't include because you can just cancel the service, but you
I don't
can't
see that
cancel
happening. We own it. It's in our name.
the sewer.
He can't. How can he?
Well, as part of his,
He's paying us rent.
right, but we didn't include
We didn't
utilities.
include that.
I had sent him a letter and said he was responsible for paying his utilities.
How do we know, is he paying his electric? Is he paying?
Oh, yeah.
His heat?
Must be, otherwise he's cold and in the dark.
Then that's a utility.
Yeah.
Then have you given him a call and given him have you given him a call and said, we have this,
And it's going to lean?
and it's, right, it's outstanding, can you take care of this, because this is part of your utilities? And if he does, he does. If he doesn't, then
Right, but
How much is the bill for?
$285.
right, but what I'm trying to avoid here is because she's getting ready to do this. I just got this handed to me Monday. Is there a date stamp on that? And I said, how soon are you doing this? She says, I'm going to do it soon, but I'll go ahead and call him. For me, I think it would just be easier for the sewer and for Cindy
Yeah.
to just not have to have them go through the paperwork. I send him a letter and say, look, you owe this
Right.
for sewer, and you got to pay it.
The other thing is if we pay it, but then we'll keep a copy of the paid receipt
Yeah, oh, yeah.
in his file, and that will be one more thing if they want to settle up.
Right.
I still think we need to notify him and let him know that that's been added.
And it's fine to send him a letter, but I would call him and send the letter as a follow-up so that something in writing does go out.
Yeah.
But he needs to expedite this if
Yeah.
he can. If he can't, well, he can't, and then we're just gonna have to go through the process.
Right.
And he'll pay that much more at the end.
Right, well,
Additional leaning costs and everything else.
considering that, I don't know what I'm saying in public here, that we were asked to forgive certain things in order to take care of the other. He's not setting himself up for
No.
any kind of,
I don't think that he's aware of that. I really don't think that he's aware of that. Because you didn't include it in
right,
we didn't include it in the rent.
When I got
Portion of it.
the last quarter bill, the October bill, I sent it to him, and I said, you're responsible for paying this.
Okay.
He got the bill that sits down at Tilton and said, you need to pay this.
And he's not paid it. Well, that's a different story.
yeah.
That's a very different story. Okay. All right.
But I'll call him and I can send him a
I
letter.
think that we need to add, I agree, then, if you sent him the October bill, and I told him that he needed to pay this because this is part of the utilities, and he's not paid the October bill, then I think that we should pay it and send him a letter that it will be added on to the amount with interest.
Okay, what about all the prior bills? See, it never dawned on me when we took the property that there were unpaid sewer bills. I didn't even think it was on sewer.
Well, just let him know
Well,
that we've received.
right, I mean, this $285, certainly, if we're paying it, it's still subject to all of those, as if
The
they were
agreement.
to be leaned.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a huge fee on that.
And the total,
Unless he would like to come in and pay for it in total,
yeah.
there would be...
Then he wouldn't be paying any interest.
Look, right. But that would be subject to the same interest that he's...
There are some items in your legal file that if we have time at your end of the meeting, I just want to bring them to your attention. There's no decisions that need to be made.
Yes, there is one on, the one we just got minutes before we started.
Can you tell me what it is? I assumed you sent it out.
No, she was copied on it,
Oh, okay.
like 4:35 or
Oh, I
something.
haven't checked my email.
Oh, yeah.
I got it right here.
I'll look at it. I'll make copies of that, because Norm doesn't have a copy either. I found it when I went in to
Oh, okay.
download something else.
All right.
I'll make copies real quick.
All right.
Because none of us have a copy.
So just for the record, I want to make sure that the selectmen that I've brought these things to your attention.
Okay.
Okay, because what happened was, the last meeting that we had, it had to have been the 22nd, I had a document that I thought I had put in the legal file.
Oh,
And when I was going through the things this morning, Monday morning, it wasn't in the legal file, but it was in all the papers on there. It was like, ooh. So,
okay.
and then the only other thing is, I found that invoice for the covers at 61 Business Park Drive, and I still haven't connected up with him yet.
All right, do we already make a motion for this to be paid?
You've authorized the work, but I haven't gotten him, I really want to see what it is that he's going to be purchasing. I've asked him twice, because if they're not,
The one in, the 4 in the bays, well, I suppose we can take it off. Okay.
well, they were, the four in the bays were going to be metal. The one in the other room wasn't. That's why the price is different. But the board said, no, they want all of them to be.
If we have work done in the immediate future, not so far future, that are they able to be taken off so that we can, and then put back on? I think they are.
And why would we want to take them off? Because there's going to be work done in there? Okay. Well, we can still hold off. What we need is somebody that at least once a week can just stop and check on the building. Someone who...
There's some issues up there.
Someone who drives by it regularly, just to check on it.
Yeah, I think we need that, because there's some issues up there right now.
It's not that easy to see from the road, but
Well, maybe we can ask Tim to go up once a week, and
Tim or Al?
Tim, because Tim knows the agreements that we have with the companies, that how much space is available to each one, and what's allocated to each one. And then he knows the situation with the police department and what they've got up there, and the agreement that we have with the fire department. So I would think that would be probably the best.
This is good, we can force them to take lunch. You have to
But
take
I think that
lunch.
would be a kind of a, we'll ask them.
All right, so
do that.
in the meantime, I'll keep trying to get in touch with Stu and get a better handle on what this is that these are going to look like. Finally, we got in touch with the sales rep for Cisco, and he's met with Dennis. They've inventoried the materials that we have. Fortunately, we can use the same paper towel holders,
Great.
so those don't have to be changed. So I'm trying to kind of hold off on placing an order until the first of the year, but if you want me to place an order at the end of the year, we
I thought you
are
were
down.
really in need of placing an order.
Are we in need?
I thought you said that this afternoon, you were in need of placing an order.
Oh, for these?
Toilet paper.
Toilet paper? Yeah, toilet paper we need. But I mean, do you want me to go ahead and buy as much as the budget will allow this year?
Well, the other thing is toilet paper, the only thing we're really low on?
No, trash bags,
Oh, okay.
paper towels.
Well,
If you're gonna place an order, you might as well get what you need,
Yeah.
but don't be buying superfluous amounts.
Okay.
Just to tide us over until we get into the new budget.
Okay. And he can match up each product. So I think I want to thank Catherine and Joe for doing that.
Yeah.
We're going to save a lot of money,
I hope so.
and he'll deliver.
And they'll deliver 3 days a week.
And they're going to keep it at the town garage?
Keep it at the town garage, and Dennis will keep track of it. You've seen where that's stored, it's way upstairs, so it's not like you can walk off.
Right.
And then I'm pecking away at getting the estimates for the board, so hopefully I'll have some more for you next week. But we're going to the budget committee next week, but we're not planning on going over our budget amount. Anyway, we'll just have to pick and choose what we can afford to do.
For this year, you
Yeah.
mean?
No, yeah. Okay, so I just want you to know I'm aware of that, and I'm working
Okay.
on that. And then the last thing I have is the grant that we submitted Monday for the EPA to clean up Ernie's. It was at 4:45. I was at the post office, there's this huge line. And while I was standing in line waiting, I was reading through, I mean, we've read through this thing 500 times, and sure enough, I was finding some typos and things. But I had to pop it in the mail. So the next day I called Rick Vandenberg, the engineer. I said, geez, we got a few typos here that we just missed. And I said, is that going to cause a problem? And he said, no. He said, as long as the budget table's correct. He said, so many people read this. This gets distributed throughout all the 10 EPA regions. What they're primarily interested in is they have their checklist that we've got to meet certain criteria, both for the threshold and how worthy our project is. So they're just looking at what's the meat of it. They're not worried that I, misspelled something or had the wrong dollar amount, as long as the budget table's correct, which it is. So I went through and corrected those typos, and I'd like to present this to the board and have it placed on our website.
Okay.
So this is the board's copy.
Nice job.
Now, there are some things in there that people may take issue with, but just remember, this is just an application.
Right.
If we are awarded the contract, or awarded the grant, the board, there's a whole process you have to go through in actually receiving the grant and what you're going to agree to do and not agree to do. The other thing I want to point out is that in the transmittal letter, we're requesting a hardship waiver for half of the match. When you read the narrative says in the budget it's showing the 20%. But then when you get to the attachments, you'll see another letter that says, here's our hardship waiver request.
Right.
So in order to apply, you say, okay, yes, we can do all this, and if we can't, these are where we'll go for other sources of money, but because things are really tight, we're asking for a waiver, because we can make up 10% of it just in volunteer labor alone.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and it sounds very repetitive, but you have to keep repeating the same things over so that they hear that, you'll see a lot of words about green space. Sustainability is another big one.
Right.
So it's just, you have to present a compelling case as why we're in such bad shape and why we need this, so. Yeah. So, and with the exception of, there's what they call the APCA, the Analysis Brownfields Assessment, which is a new requirement of this grant. We had to go back to the Lakes Region Planning Commission and ask them for money to pay the engineer to write that portion of it, which they did. So Lakes Region Planning Commission paid for that. It's like a 5-page report in there. But all the rest of it, between Rick Vandenberg, Rick Silverberg, and myself, we all did this as volunteering our time, with the exception of Monday afternoon. This past Monday afternoon, I did have to work on this. So, and it was just a very rewarding experience to have gone through, and I'm glad that the selectmen allowed us the opportunity to do that. It's been a wonderful learning experience, and I just pray and hope that we get the funding.
Well, I think we got a good shot at it. We got
Yeah, that's what-
mighty good people working on this.
Rick Vandenberg said, because this is all they deal with, are these EPA grants and brownfields grants, is that the more leverage you have, that's what gets you the most points. It's pure point-based, like the CDBG grants. And the fact that we have the TE grant, the Town of Northfield, and with the Trails Association putting up 20% of the match of almost $600,000, that will get their attention.
When I saw Carolyn today at Polly's, and she said they were just awarded another grant for the bridge. How much was that?
15,000.
15,000.
Really?
Yes.
Today.
She just found out today.
Good, because the total that has to be raised is $97,000. So 65, 75, so that's 80,000, so we can raise the rest, no problem.
So anyway, she
Isn't
was
that
quite
great?
happy.
So I might, on the website, maybe just put some sort of a little disclaimer, because a lot of people will be reading that and looking at it, and they're going to say, what? On some of these. So just if they have any questions, just to give me a call.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to explain.
Okay. Very good job.
Yes.
The trees, did you get any more estimates other than the one that I gave you didn't pan out?
Didn't pan out. Catherine didn't call me back. I haven't called your guy yet.
Okay.
And Dennis was going to be meeting with,
He's not Not until later, he's straight out.
Okay, I'll call
Oh, I
him. He gave me
suggest
his
that you
number.
call that one.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I can do that.
And we've marked the ones up there, and he has one,
At Buffalo Park.
Buffalo Park. I think this,
I know where it is.
okay. What's the other thing?
I called Mango.
They didn't give you a time, did they?
No,
Oh,
He
change
was gonna
orders.
call
Did
you.
you get change orders?
for the police.
Right.
I haven't even, this is the first time I've seen the chief in since how long?
No, this is to add, but the change orders that you already changed
Yeah.
and didn't have change orders on, do you have those?
No, we gotta do
No, he has
that.
look on his face.
We
like,
have to do that. I haven't talked to you. Yeah, at the PD, I'll talk with you after. The work that's been done, we need to get caught up on our change orders.
This is what he would like to have done.
Now, you were going to talk about that tonight. That was on your, oh, wow.
What is it? I'm changing, the dotted lines are add.
Right. And,
Oh, see, I haven't seen any of this.
well, he just gave us this
So I
tonight.
understand what I'm looking at, this blue line that's under
Is
here.
the old, this,
There's a wall there now?
no, it's empty.
There's no wall there.
There's, what you're looking at now, when you walk in, this hallway right here,
Yeah,
right here is where the men currently have lockers.
okay,
So this here is the evidence room, which will come over here. This is what we've done.
right.
The change that the chief has made is that we were going to have a pass-through locker here.
Right,
Now it's just a solid wall, because what he would like to do is to make this totally here for evidence processing only, right here. And
Yeah,
then
so
this evidence, all this evidence.
yeah. So this whole square right here, this is evidence processing, that's all new,
Right. This wall here,
yeah.
that he would like have added, this
Right.
wall.
Now, was this wall, is that a new wall?
This wall was part of the, was going to have a pass-through locker in it, but now it's solid. It's up
Okay.
there now.
Okay.
That's the one we need the change order on.
Okay,
It has electrical outlets in it now.
all right.
So you're not going to need that locker then?
Yes,
No,
it
you
needs the
still would.
locker
Where
here,
will the locker be, though?
right here.
Right here, yeah.
Right here?
Yeah.
Can I just draw right there?
Yeah.
So-
in the back here, this is the pass-through
Right,
locker.
this would be the pass-through locker right up here. So, all of the hallway would now, he wants to make this a 60/40, men's locker room, female locker room here, but put a wall up,
And there's no wall there now.
and there's no wall there now.
Okay,
Now,
This is existing now, right?
That's
he
existing.
got a quote, and that's what's on this paper here. The walls, the framing, the sheetrock, the painting, the door installation, and the trim is $2,720.61. To VCT flooring for this,
That's, I believe that's everything.
that's all this?
Yeah, wherever, yeah, would finish the VCT down there.
Okay.
In here and here and here? These rooms here? Okay.
Is 2526. And then the electrical, which is adding up here, 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 and then the lockers.
And that's also doing all the emergency lighting upgrades and repairs. So that 506 is actually in there. If we didn't do any of that,
We'd
if you
still have
just
to do
fixed
this.
what's kind of out of code or needs to be done no matter what, it would be 506. So that 506 is in the 2716 or 2216.
okay, can I, the electrical work that was done that needs to be looked at, that's not part of this, right?
he has the outlets here, so they put 2 outlets here
No, I'm talking about the electrical work that was done, that was,
upstairs.
yes,
That needs to be a change order.
okay. But now, even if we make it a change order, we still have to,
The electrician, right.
yeah,
we can do
okay.
that.
All right, so this is just for the downstairs.
This
and
is
what he's
just
proposing
downstairs
for
only.
changes.
And now, we have to have a change order here for the door, because we're waiting on Tom for that, correct?
Correct.
Because this is going to be a solid door. The door's rusting out on the
Yep.
bottom.
Right.
So the door's here, but what the chief is looking for is a wall here. Perhaps maybe next year we could do this, because this looks like a,
Yeah,
to me, this is for gear bags and cruiser
Right.
equipments. It's a solid wall? Is it going to be like a closet?
Yeah, well, it would actually be like a storage room. Matt said we could go all the way out to the
Electrical server
Column.
room out here?
yeah, he said you could go all the way out to there.
But that limits this space here.
Well,
What if you had some big evidence here and coming in and
yeah,
going
you'd still
out?
have like a 5-foot hallway there. It wouldn't be all the way out to where the electrical server room is.
Okay,
It would
but
go out to that.
the...
And he said it would give you storage, give us storage for like, when we take the cruiser seats out and put the plastic ones in, we store those because it's when we send them to the state auction, we have to put the seats back. And light bars, and then also we would have a place for their gear bags. It just would give us a storage space. So that would just be a 2x4 wall with sheetrock.
Now, if you get another canoe or kayak or something big, though, can you...
Isn't that what we have,
That goes
the
in the
storage
storage
up at
Yeah.
61 Business
61.
Park Drive?
No more
Okay.
kayaks in the
Okay.
basement.
All right.
It's, because it's actually it's a
Okay.
code
But
issue.
this is, I just remembered something, because this is included in that price up there.
This wall there,
This wall.
Yeah.
evidence locker room storage for cruiser equipment and hallway delivery.
Yeah.
Right.
It's basically everything that's yellow.
Right.
The sheets, because everything that's blue is existing, so what's dotted yellow would be the new walls.
And this is the small little hallway that goes into the training room, correct?
Right.
So you're entertaining of making the door coming in here, just extending that door, going into the,
Right.
the
Yeah.
old evidence room for the female locker room?
Yeah, Matt said he could actually repurpose a couple of the doors, which would save some money too.
Right. I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah.
He could do that, which would save, okay.
so with all
I'm
the-
totally in agreement with them getting out of the hallway, because every time I go in, I have to yell, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad that we have to have them changing in the hallway.
And this is good because you've got 2 means to get out of the training
An
room.
additional almost $7,500.
If you do everything.
Yeah.
But we really don't have to do everything.
Right, well, I mean, we'll probably have to postpone some of it until next year.
Right, yeah, just, yeah.
But we have an estimate, a
Right,
change order. This here, we really love to get this finalized, the evidence portion of it.
Right now,
Then he can start moving everything in and done.
get done, yeah. Right now, like the fuming tank and the evidence refrigerator, which is where they put blood, all that stuff's in the hallway. And I want to get all that out of the hallway, because if we're going to future do the locker room, all that stuff would need to be moved.
Now, where are you going to put the dehumidifier, which has to be out? It's going to be going into these rooms. It's going to be piped into this room and this room. You have to have some way to have this in there.
He actually came
Mr.
down.
Bowie?
He came down and I showed him this plan, and he said if it got approved, he would work with Matt to come up with a location for it. He said it didn't take up that much space, and so he
You
said...
have to have an outlet.
Yeah. So he said, basically, Chief, I'll hold off to hear how you make out with this and then get back to me. So he hasn't come up with a hard, fast location for it yet. But I think I'd like to get him and Matt to talk together if we do any part of this, so they're on the same page.
Well, you can't do this work anyway until the work that Mr. Hoey's going to do with the crack
that
in the
wall.
wall and
Right.
sealing it and all of that. You can't do a thing with that.
Anyway, so,
Till that's done.
Well, it looks to me like the important part is to finish this evidence processing, so you have your evidence room back intact and secured.
When are you getting your new lockers? Have you ordered those yet?
not yet.
And
no.
you're, so is this going to be a keyless thing?
We haven't approved the new lockers yet.
Well, I thought you did.
Did we approve the new lockers?
Yeah, I'm holding off.
I thought we did.
The
Yeah.
keyless entry, the new lockers, and some of those batteries for the
Yeah.
cruisers?
Yes, that's right, we did.
Yep.
You're right, we did.
Yeah, and I talked to Tim about it, and he said, I gave him the 3 prices, and he says, yeah, we're okay with that. But I'm holding off I wanted to hold off until we kind
Very
of
last
looked at this. Yeah, the last minute.
You don't have a price to,
Do just that. I'd have to call Matt or get a hold of him.
can we wait on the VCT tiling until 2012?
Yeah, you really don't need the VCT until you do the locker room, so, yeah. I mean, we could wait until 2/12 if you want.
Did you talk to Tim about the budget and how we're going to figure out where we're going to get this?
Yeah, and even with this, he felt we were okay. I gave him rough numbers, and I emailed this to him. He felt that it would be better to do this year than next year. When I talked to him this afternoon, and I told him what I was looking to do here.
Well,
We should plan a time to sit down with Tim and go over all these things,
Yep.
for the town hall, and
No, no question
I
about
think
it.
Yeah.
Dennis is all set. He's not,
I agree. I think,
can we just do it as a work session?
Like a-
yeah, we can. I really do agree with that. You got a good point. I think that we've started this so that it's made right and livable and workable with the situation. If you go to this point and then leave it and not finish what we've started, if we can afford it, I think it's a good proposal to do it.
Yeah, if we have the money, Tim can find the money, and we can, even if we don't finish it by the end of the year, encumber whatever would be left to keep going. But, that's primarily right now. I know the
And then
chief
this would
isn't really
finish it.
overloaded with an abundance of extra money in his
You want me to see if
budget.
he can come up for a minute, or?
Well,
He's
Oh, I do
in
want-
Norway.
Oh, yeah, he's in.
but he's
Do it
not
during the
downstairs,
day.
I don't
Maybe
know.
we could do it at the PD,
What?
because I haven't seen any of this in quite a while, with him at the PD.
Well, we can't because we can't see this portion because it's locked. I mean, this is the
Okay.
evidence room right now,
Still, yeah.
and we can't move into here until we get this portion up
Right?
and running. Once they get this up, then they can move this in and lock it. Then they can move all this here in and do it. That's the issue.
Well, I guess the only thing I would say is, I don't have a problem with any of this. The only thing that I can find that would be constraining would just be the budget. However much the budget will allow us to do, because the idea is we want to make this safer and, better for the guys, and we have to take care of what we've been, were pointed out to us as flaws that are over there, so.
We've taken care of the liabilities. There's a couple of liabilities downstairs, which we have to get these
Right.
people moved out into here.
Yep.
And that's part of the program.
Right.
This here is, incidental, but it's needed for space.
Yep.
Um,
No question about it. If you have a place where you can keep all this stuff and it's closed up so that people aren't tripping over it,
Right.
it's not getting in their way.
Yeah, right now, everything gets dumped in hallways,
Yep, I know.
So it's
In the
just-
boiler room.
in the boiler room.
And I don't know how many times LGC has walked into
In the
that.
mechanical
We
room.
have gotten nailed for that
Yeah.
over and over and over
I'm
again.
not supposed to have anything in the mechanical room, and that's where this...
Right.
So it's all that kind of stuff that I'm trying to clear those 2 rooms, so that's why Matt's like, yeah, that's easy to make that storage room right there, it's dead space anyway.
Right,
But
okay.
The dispatch.
Dispatch, we got the cabinets.
Yeah.
They're on order.
they're ordered, and it looks great, actually. If you
And
haven't been over,
Do you
come
have the
over.
pull-out? Did you order that?
No, we got
Oh,
our,
it's at the level.
yeah, and with the new chair, she's at level. I told her, Merrick's, he said that her elbow should be at a 90 degrees and arms flat. And so that was the test we did, and the bottom of the countertop's at 27, the top's at 29. When we're over at Staples, we measured all the desks over there, and they were all 29 to 30 inches. So all the desks over there were the same height as what we have there.
Right.
And so she says with the height of the chair, it sits up high. She's good. And I said, well, if you find that for any reason you want me to add that tray, we will. And so far we're kind of running without it, but it looks, they did a great job. Really looks nice.
Okay. So the dispatch part, except the paperwork, to tighten up that change orders, we need to get that done.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. If we want to do this, if Tim,
Yeah, we'll have to meet with him and just
We,
make sure the money's there.
one of the things we've been working on this week, too, is doing all the final things for the audit, for the 2010 audit. So that is like a huge, that grant and the audit stuff is like, we can breathe, so we can start paying attention to all these things.
is he coming back tonight? I thought he said he was coming back.
I thought he did.
After
Yeah,
his
to bring-
budget
yeah,
meeting.
to
Oh, yeah,
bring your-
because he's going to work on the APs, remember?
What about the, you were supposed to give us information on your vehicle maintenance that the town forces didn't do, because they haven't made a decision on the cruisers yet, to lease,
The
purchase.
lease
which
purchase or
ones.
Yeah.
whatever.
And you were going to get, like, all the auto serve and Irwin's bills.
Yeah.
I did that.
You did?
Yeah.
Who'd you give it to?
Brought them over, yeah. I think it was the last meeting. I brought all that.
I don't remember seeing it.
I know I brought it. Maybe we didn't get to it on the agenda, but I know I
I think
brought
that was it,
it.
because I know you had called and said you'd have it for that
Yeah, I
morning.
have them.
You have them?
Yeah. And the state bid price, you saw that came down on
Yeah.
the cars a little bit, so that helps.
Do you have
About
that now?
1,000 a car, they came down.
So the new Interceptor car, does all the equipment in the Crown Vic fit in the Interceptor?
The only thing that we think might not is the cages. The petitions, those are about $470 apiece. So I was talking to Tim about that today too, and he says, well, if you're saving $1,000 a car on the state bid price, that would cover it if you had to buy petitions, but that's the only, everything else does. The consoles goes over, the light bars go over, everything goes over. We were told the petitions would go over those cages, but if we had to buy them, they'd be close to $500 each.
But you were told that they would work.
Yeah, that's what they told the chiefs meeting. They said those cages would work, so I'd be
There's an
surprised to
awful
hear
lot of
that.
Crown Vics out there.
Yeah, I know.
It's not going to work.
Right. I mean, that came up at a chiefs meeting, and Ford said that when they designed the car, they actually brought together a committee of police chiefs, and that was the primary concern across the country was, because you think some agencies probably have 500 cars. They said, we want all the equipment to come over. If you can do that, you'll certainly keep us in the Ford direction. And so Ford had the engineers work on it and said, make sure all this stuff works. And that's what they told us. So there's an adapter kit that you have to get with some of the petitions that allow for more airbags, because all the cars have 8 airbags now. And when we bought the cages, there weren't that many. So that's one thing we're still working on, is to find out, to confirm that. But Ryan just mentioned that to me yesterday. He goes, I don't think those cages are going to fit. And I said, that's not what I heard at a chiefs meeting.
Well, if you have that information, could you give us copies again? Because I didn't get a copy.
I didn't-
Yeah, we just got, I think just yesterday or the day before, got the update on the state bid price.
We still have to make that decision, whether we're going to do rentals or, a lot would depend on what the overall maintenance fee is on those cars, as to which ones we get rid of.
Oh, which one? Yeah.
So, but,
Yeah, I have that. I think I have it with me.
okay,
'Cause I
well,
brought
if
it to
you
the
do,
last
so that we
meeting.
can all
Yeah.
have copies of it. That was the only hang-up, is when you
Okay.
wanted to know, Catherine wanted to know the maintenance costs, who, help with determining which cars
Which
she
to
felt we
get
should
rid of.
get rid of, and if we were going to go rental or...
So, get back to the change orders. You're taking those legs out so that the cabinets are going to be supported only by the counter's going to be supported by the cabinets and not the legs, or are you putting the cabinets in between the legs?
It's such a long U-shaped countertop. I talked with Matt about it and Jeff, and we thought we'd take out the legs where the cabinets are going on the sides,
Yep.
but leave the ones
In the corners?
in the corners to support all that weight.
Yep. So Joyce, we need the change orders on the legs, because that's not in the contract, in the RFP, in the electrical and dispatch.
Those
You
have
need a change order on your key, in your cage.
Yeah.
You need an entry to go out, unless you get that on your own.
Right.
So once the officer goes in and ties him down locks him to the chair, he's locked in. We need to get the officer out. That would be a good thing.
Yeah, if you go in that cage and you're not paying attention and the door closes behind you, that's probably not a good day.
No.
But we
Not
were
if
talking
you're
about
alone.
having our building key be on both sides of it, so if that happened, they could
Right.
key out. And that's actually how a lot of the cells are. When you have a cell key, it's keyed on both sides, so you can key out if you had to.
Who would have to do that, though? Who?
Like Carlson.
Okay, Carlson could do it.
All right, so that would be a
I
change
would just
order.
go straight to a locksmith,
Right.
because they'll know how to set it up.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps maybe we don't even need, there wouldn't be a change order then, if he's going to go right to a lock,
Vendor.
another vendor.
You know,
To do that.
the legs, Matt used table legs, and they're just a couple of screws. He did through a steel plate, he goes, you just unscrew them and pull them out.
Right.
So,
And then the evidence room wall,
Yep.
the pass-through wall, he's moving that. That's why we have to, it would make it easier if we could do the walls, trim, and do that, at least, and then that would include that change order for the pass.
We're in here.
Correct. This right here, this first one, walls, which include framing, sheetrock, painting, door installation, and trim.
But that doesn't include installing this pass-through?
no
Yeah,
wood,
yeah.
and then that little processing area would have one light. So,
So if we could do the number 1 and number 3, and if we had enough money for number 2, we could put that as a priority, as a third on the list.
But this electrical is just for the downstairs? the
Yes,
other
that's in addition,
Okay.
that's an addition, Joyce, that he's adding now. That's never been,
actually, his quote includes fixing anything electrical upstairs, too.
oh, it does?
That's the whole
But-
building.
But we need to make sure that that's...
But it's not stuff that was covered in an RFP before, prior to that. It's not changes in electrical that we had started on our,
Possibly not.
no, I don't,
No,
no, he's
he's-
already done that work.
Because we did a walkthrough, and
Right.
he said, we realized there was no emergency lighting in the unfinished part of the business or the emergency exit signs, so we walked through, and he says, there's bulbs out, and I said, do we change the bulbs? And he goes, it's cheaper to change the unit, it's all LED now, and the LED ones last forever. And so he goes, well, I said, well, quote me for changing these to LED and emergency lighting downstairs, and also replacing balusters that are out upstairs in the hallway. So his
The emergency lighting downstairs is all dependent on your generator, right?
No, it's stuff that when the power goes out,
It's all battery?
it's all battery, so it would go on anyway.
Oh, I can't, oh, I see
But
what you're
his-
saying. Okay. I do.
You know, I'm glad
I
you
got it
mentioned
now.
that. But his quote does include putting a switch on a breaker panel so that when the power does go out,
Yep.
everything has power. He included that.
Okay.
That's in here with the
Yeah.
electrical?
Yeah, which is kind of because we found during power outages, the places that needed to have power didn't,
Okay.
like parts of dispatch, and the training room has no power at all. So if that's the EOC for the town,
Right.
there's no power in there.
Is the generator you have sufficient to run that, to run everything?
He said you'd have to police what you have on at the time. You probably wouldn't have every little light on in the building. I talked to him about that, and he said, yeah, he said it would run what you need to run. But if you wanted to have every light on and every appliance, and then you'd...
All the bling.
All the bling.
The blue bling. Okay.
Or just your radio chargers
What do we
alone
wanna
and
do
all
with
that
this?
equipment draw? Jeez.
I guess we hang on to it.
Do you want to make a decision next week, or
Um,
on this?
Well, we'll have a written change order document for the board to sign.
I know, but
What are we gonna
are we
do
going to make a
about this?
motion to do this? Or are we going to make, I'm asking the board on what the chief is asking us to do this on the changes and the additional changes that are needed in the PD. Do we want to make a decision on this tonight? Do we want to hold till next week, or what do we want to do?
Oh, I think what I see here tends to make sense. I mean, and make the best use of the space that's available. So, you know, since it looks like there'll be no PD in the near future, no new PD,
right.
we've got to go with what we've got and make the best of it.
I'll make a motion, we approve the changes. The only caveat that I would put in there is we just have to make sure that there's money in the budget for it, or how we're best going.
Contingent upon,
Funding.
contingent upon where Tim said we could get it from.
Yep.
That would be great.
Motion's been made,
Second.
seconded. Any discussion? So this means we have to hear from Tim before you can
Right.
go out and do this, okay. And we need to see the change orders. Okay, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Just have one thing
these are copies, so you might want to save one for Joe and,
has Catherine Dawson spoken with you yet about the Birchill Kennels contract? She had some questions about it.
No, but
I mean, before we get any further into December, we should,
yes, she has some,
questions?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, she hasn't, but
Okay.
I can give her a call tomorrow.
well, she's,
she's sick.
She's really sick.
but just,
Yeah.
I don't even know, I want to talk to her on the phone.
Oh.
Might get through.
yeah, we just need to stay on top of that so that we can make sure we have a contract.
If she'd showed up, I'd have had to leave,
Oh, because you're,
as you would too.
Oh, yes, I'd have to definitely, I can't be around anybody.
Thanks.
Hey, we got good excuses.
Yeah,
I technically do too, but
yeah.
I do. All right, so, are you prepared? 45 minutes?
The noise road.
Okay. You're all set with that? I took a drive over already?
Yeah, I've been over there several times, and I was over there today.
Yeah.
I'm having a problem with that. I've been over there too, but it would seem to be that from the last public hearing we had, the bulk of the problem seems to be getting onto Route 3 from
More
Noyes
than
Road.
the road itself.
But we have absolutely no say in what happens to the end of Noyes Road and Route 3. That
Right.
isn't we don't have the authority to make any changes to a state road, so I'm not sure how much we can help them other than changing the speed limit. And that reminds me, did you ever put the machine over there to
No, we're having problems with it, so the officers actually just went over and ran radar, and they gave me some speeds and vehicle counts, and it's not as good as a trailer because people see the black and white,
Right.
but,
It's like, oh, nobody's speeding today, I wonder why. I just wondered if, you've gotten any of that information, so.
yeah,
Because, I mean, short of having them get together with, say, Marl or something, and going over what their biggest issues are, I don't know. I mean, other than the speed limit, the rest of the road area where they've got a problem up there by the intersection, we'll do about that anyway. So,
All right. Any other thing? Joyce, you had anything more?
I was gonna bring it up on the police too. I guess Cliff Boswell called, and he asked Ray Burton to come out and look at that intersection.
On Noyes Road?
No, Silver Lake.
Silver Lake? Yes.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay.
I guess he told me, Ray replied to him to come out on the 9th at 4 o'clock p.m.
then,
Okay, now, have you pulled together any of your statistics? Because Lakes Region Planning Commission was going to go out and do their traffic survey.
Yeah, I spoke with, he was,
So for Silver Lake Road?
it's either 4 or 4:15, I'd put 4 o'clock on the 9th. And I'll touch base with Ray to make sure he's coming that day. And I talked with Mike, and he was doing a survey there.
Okay.
And,
Do you have any accident?
he hasn't
data?
given me no, and he was actually contacting
State police?
State Department of Transportation to get that data too.
Okay.
Because I was going to put together some stuff with our trailer, but I told him it was down. He goes, "Don't worry, Chief, I'll take care of it."
Okay, good.
So he's going to get me all that.
Okay.
He's real nice. And
Yeah.
they did have a counter out there to do morning and afternoon traffic, because we got some calls on him.
What's wrong with the trailer?
It might be the battery. It has a car battery that, even though it's solar, and the battery's a couple years old, so the car battery might have to be replaced in it.
Is it a car battery or marine battery that provides
Or probably a marine.
a
but
more
it's that kinda-
constant charge?
Yeah. So I needed to get diagnosed. We just been so busy, and it's been low on the priority list.
right.
And what time does the parade start now on Saturday? And where does it go?
The
Catherine said she
parade
was
is
getting
starting
calls.
at 3. The lineup is at the Union Sanborn School. They're going to go up Elm Street, cross the Cannon Bridge, turn west on Main Street to the high school.
Oh, so they'll end up at the high school?
Yes.
Oh.
And starts at 3.
Starts at 3.
And what time will the fireworks be?
They told me 6.
Yeah.
And Starbucks is donating the coffee, Tilton School's donating hot chocolate, Panera Bread's donating some baked goods. There's going to be Christmas music, a movie, The Polar Express.
Really?
Well, that's being done at Riverfront
Riverfront,
Place.
Yeah. Oh.
The parking lot for the park itself is going to be limited to the entire lot to just handicap, radio, WFTN, and about any other vehicle that was going to be in there, but and unfortunately, people will be discouraged from parking at St. Mary of the Assumption because they do have services at 6 o'clock and
Right.
don't need the parking lot filled up.
I think Autos
We,
are sending over cars for everybody for both boards, and they may be convertibles. So
Convertibles?
you may want
Wear a
to dress
muffler.
them.
Yes.
Get my long johns out. It's supposed to be cold Saturday.
That was a hint.
Don't let me forget, I gotta bring the chocolate in It's all in my car.
I know, it's a definite cut and pay if Chocolate's not here.
Oh, it's
For the
here.
parade.
It's here.
That's it.
It doesn't matter if it's frozen or not. I mean,
That's
Yeah,
good.
it can be frozen.
Chief Adams is going to ride in a car beside me, and so we'll be doing the same thing. It's funny.
But where's
Jerry's
Jerry?
riding with me.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, where's Jerry?
Already spoke with Jerry. He's meeting me at the PD at 2:30.
I've heard about it all week. But, I'm,
So, and it's supposed to be good weather. I mean,
I know, but it's...
40 clear, a little cool.
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
gonna ride...
In a convertible, it's cool.
Well, it's
You're
better than
gonna-
last year. We
Hey.
sat in the back of a pickup and...
No, that was the year before. We
Year
got our
before we
butts
sat.
wet.
Got our butts wet, sitting in snow.
My pants, my long johns, everything was soaking wet. Now I know why kids walk funny.
This goes in the...
Are you, you're gonna be with us?
I will be with you,
Great.
Great.
Lord willing, and I don't end up in the hospital again.
Oh, I know. Just gotta think positive. The worst is over.
Yep. All right. Geez, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn on this one.
Yeah, we didn't have our
Come on.
public hearing.
I don't have the email in here of your response. I guess I do.
Right.
Here it is.
What about our...
Selectmen's reports, right. Yep.
We'll click it through those and we'll be all done except the public hearing and go home. Yes.
All right.
Signing the Birch Hill contract, or we holding off?
No, we're holding off.
Catherine had questions. Pat
Okay,
and I had already signed it, and then we had actually questions.
well, you won't have a quorum of signatures.
Right. Okay, so we talked about all that.
All right. You have something?
I just have one little thing. I just want to let the board know that I'm working on trying to shore up the zoning regulations, get it ready for town meeting vote. Few issues, and one of the primary things is to clean it up so that there isn't an issue on substandard housing and having to pay, reimburse landlords for rents to the welfare office for substandard type housing. I did discover today that in 1989, the town of Tilton did on their ballot approve the state's minimum standards for housing, and so we have that much. I think once it's written, we can adjust Heather's rules that were written and approved by the Board of Selectmen and add a statement in there that just states that, because we have approved the standard, minimum standards housing, that no rent will be reimbursed to any landlord for substandard housing. So anyway, that's what I'm working on right now, and when I have something, I'll share it with the board. We have to get the wording and everything right, so, but that's what's going on right now. That 10 million.
I was gonna say, there's 10 million, at least 10 million other things.
But anyway, that's it for now. The rest of it, I'd just be flapping my gums on. I don't have enough to tell you yet, so. I'm done.
The Home Depot is finished with their project up at the Grange. I cannot thank them enough for what they've done up there. The flooring, the cabinets, the bathroom, the handicap ramp. It's wonderful. They did a great job. It's a great group of people that they sent up to spend their time working on that. It was truly an honor to work alongside with them. It's an unbelievable group of people. Tom is finishing up with the last of what he has to do. We have new windows in the kitchen, hallway. The windows are all in and framed. The plumber is in and done. The existing stainless steel sink, we're cleaning up, and we're replacing the legs on it. We're reusing that. The stove is ready to be hooked up to the new gas line. Heat's on.
That, Sandy.
Yeah, he's ready.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Heat's on and ready to go, so we will be meeting up there now. The scouts are coming up to help us clean up and do some things. And so now we're going for grants and donations for pots, pans, dishes, utensils, kind of kitchen things, so that we're able to cook now and serve meals and things. But we can have programs and things up there and start setting things up, so we're kind of excited about it.
Cool.
Very excited.
Are you going to have like an open house?
We will have a grand opening for everyone, and invite all of the people that have donated, probably in the spring, when we finally have pots and pans and, can be able to serve. We started, Joyce and I, we met with the CDBG talking about grants, and when you actually sit down and think about the dollar amount in the labor and everything else that we've got, our $20,000 that the town voted to start those renovations turned into about $83,000 worth of materials and labor and work this year to make this happen. So, I mean, that alone, that's already happened, so it's now opened us up to a whole new, different level of funding, which we're very excited about. Extremely excited. We do, usually, we have a couple of things in the FYI. One is that we do have this variance, conditional use permit for the wetlands buffer, and that's on the December 13th. That's next to the Grange. And we're not going to read that letter, correct?
Right.
Okay. Other than that, we have public hearing tonight. Oh, Christmas party. Catherine, do you want to report on the Christmas party? Yep. But I thought we left that choice up to you and the staff to... Well, I think we should leave that up to the staff this year.
Are they, this one that's a copy of a handwritten one, I don't see a dollar figure attached.
We
to
made
that.
a motion...
Same? Okay.
Yeah, same. We made a motion not to exceed that amount.
Okay.
Two people just this out. And I have to talk to him with everybody else.
Okay. And we agreed on the time, correct?
Was it noon or one? That's what I wasn't sure.
I thought we were going to close the town hall at noon.
At noon, yes.
Or did we want to do it? I can't remember now.
When's that on the?
Half a day, so it would be noon.
Yeah.
That on the 23rd?
The 23rd.
Yep.
So,
Joanne's been out. So tomorrow morning I'll go over it again with all the employees.
Okay.
well, that only gives them 2 weeks to prepare. Is that going to be, if we make a decision next week, that only allows the restaurants a week and a half.
It's fine.
Why don't we make a motion? Why don't we make a motion that Catherine can ask her questions and whatever the majority rules is what we'll go with?
So far, it's been very
I think we should just do it.
I don't think we need to put that in the form of a motion.
Yeah,
Let's
just
just go
do
ahead
it.
and do it.
Just do it.
It's for the town employees. I think that they should have a decision where,
If they'd like to change,
Right.
if they want to eliminate something.
This other one is for doing like it was last year up here.
yes.
But it would also be nice if we just walked next door and we're
Yeah.
done. We leave and they clean up
Absolutely.
the mess.
Yeah,
Sounds good to me.
that always works. Somebody else cleaning, yeah.
We need that in the motion because we have two estimates. So,
But she stayed with what we told her, the 400. Right? That's what she, when she was going over it with me, she called him and told him that we had said you can't spend over $400.
we asked her to get estimates, though, she came up with two people because the decision was to get other local people involved, other local restaurants. And, no, I'm not, that's what I'm saying, we should make a formal motion that it will be at,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying,
All right,
to make it
then
a formal.
I'll make a motion that our Christmas party this year will be at Onions, and we'll close the town hall at noon, and then the party...
And Catherine is in charge.
And Catherine is in charge of all the details.
If you don't get an invite, it's Catherine.
Yeah, blame her.
Oh, she's the hostess with the mostest, I mean.
Second that.
It's town employees
Yes.
only, correct?
Yes, town employees only.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That way they can start getting ready, planning.
Based on the majority of the employees. Gotcha.
Who
Norm,
responded?
you got something for us?
Just, on a personal level, I'm getting back into the swing of things. I can now drive, I can walk without crutches. However, I do have immunotherapy I'm looking at, which will last a year. I don't know how that will affect me, but I'm happy to be out of the hospital for the second time.
Yeah.
And in an attempt to get back into the swing of things, I went to a Parks Commission meeting last night where they were finalizing the plans for the parade, most of which we've already discussed. The only thing I found out in talking to Dennis today is Vicky's tree at the park has not been decorated yet or had lights put on, and he doesn't think he's going to be able to get to it, so I guess it'll fall to the Parks Commission to make sure that it's, because it isn't the plan to have a formal lighting ceremony for that tree.
All right. Yeah.
But otherwise, that's where I'm at. I'm still trying to get back into the swing, so you'll have to bear with me.
Now, is the park commissioners, did you send them an email?
I haven't sent him an email because by the time I got back from talking with Dennis, I had to turn around and come in here, so I will send out an email as soon as I get home.
Right. All righty. And we're glad you're back.
Thank you.
Very.
I didn't plan on last week, and it wasn't fun.
Well, I know, and it wasn't, I can't imagine being locked in a hospital on a holiday especially.
I had the most expensive accommodations you can find in the Lakes region, and it was no fun.
I concur with that. It is no fun.
Chief, do you want to, while Tim's still here, do you want to check with him on the...
Oh, I think Tim's already gone. He's going to school.
He's coming back from the school.
No, he's not coming back. He told me that he's not feeling well.
Oh.
He's not coming back. Said his stomach is really... And I'm going...
I make a motion to adjourn. No.
Forget the public hearing. Let's get out of here.
So actually, we're done.
Yep.
Yeah, except
for the public hearing.
All right. We'll take a 10-minute break.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, this has to be signed by
We got a small non-pub after.
You want to do
Get
the non-pub
the
now?
tape.
You want
wanna
to do
go
the
over
non-pub
the,
now?
Well, they'll be walking in, though, that's the
Oh,
only thing.
that's true.
Quarter
I'd
off.
be filtering in within
Right.
10
Yeah.
minutes.
I'd rather take
It's
it.
25 to 7, so we're trying to walk up, so we'll just wait. It's not going to take that long anyway. Well, this is good. I drank that Coke, I need to walk downstairs.
I gotta go down.
Okay, back from a quick break. We have a couple minutes. Do you want to take care of that?
Yeah. We have before us a request from the cooperative to name a joint board representative and an alternative to the cooperative. I guess it has to be done every 3 years. And time is up, so I would like to nominate Joe Jessamine as the current joint board rep and Dennis Allen as the alternate. Make that in the form of a motion.
Second. All those in favor of the motion for Dennis
Aye.
Allen and Joe Jessamine?
Aye.
Joyce can fill it. Do we need to sign it?
Usually it has to be signed by the town clerk.
I'll get the notebook.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to invite the chief up here with us. You could sit in Catherine's. I'd like to apologize to everyone. Catherine and Joe are sick tonight, so they're not able to make it. Looks like we can go ahead and get started.
These are the two emails, okay?
Yep. So I open the public hearing for, in response to the residents' concerns about safety issues and traffic problems on Noyes Road. So this is simply a public hearing. As you know, some residents came to us a few weeks ago and gave us their concerns for safety, speed, and turning off, going in the one-way in the opposite direction. I think that was one of the concerns as well. So we asked the chief to look into some areas of concern, and we also sent a letter out to everyone on Noyes Road and Wolf and Bryce Drive in and around that area to come and voice your concerns, because I know it's a difficult area to get in and out. So we want to hear from you. Or you want to hear from us?
We want to hear from you, I think, because everybody that is here from Noyes Road really doesn't know what kind of issues we've got in front of us here.
Okay, I'll get it going for you guys. We did a few weeks ago get some complaints of speed on Noyes Road and stop sign violations. So since then, you've probably seen a few extra black and whites in your neighborhood, or us patrolling around there. Hopefully you did. We've, since the last meeting, we've assigned people there over there, 14 different shifts, and they recorded speeds of traffic going in and out on Noyes Road in all different areas, and the speeds range range from 16 all the way up to 22 miles an hour. And they wrote some warnings over there. They wrote a few for stop sign violations and one for excessive speed. And some reported that the days they sat over there was no traffic. And I think, I don't like to minimize problems. I think, if you live on that street, your traffic problems are as important as the guy that lives on Winter Street, to me. And we take every complaint seriously. Sometimes if we don't have high traffic volume, but there's a problem in a neighborhood, it might be one or two individuals that are causing the problems, one or two cars. And in those cases, we just need to focus on those individuals. And it might be actually paying them a visit and saying, hey, we've had complaints about you driving in the neighborhood. If it keeps up, we're going to summons you into court. And at that point, we'd need one of you guys to come in and actually be a witness for us, because we didn't witness a violation. And we do get that occasionally. You get the kid in the neighborhood that gets his license, and he's got his first car, and it's a fast one. And we all been there. But needless to say, his driving could be dangerous. And so we start to get complaints, and next thing you know, we're going to pay him a visit, pay his parents a visit, and say, look, we've had 2 or 3 complaints on your son over the last 3 weeks. We need to deal with it before someone gets hit. So every complaint's important, and I encourage people to call, and before you leave, I'll give you my cards, my cell, and all that. So I talked to the officers. They were good. They got over there every time I asked them to. When we do get directed patrol requests for a road like Noyes Road, we also get them for Cedar Street, Winter Street. So they have to divvy up their time throughout the week and try to get to all of these different directed patrols, because on any given week we're getting speed complaints on a variety of different streets, and we try to address them all. And so they did go over there. They did see some violations. I know that at the railroad tracks you have some stop signs there, and I imagine it's because at railroad tracks you have to have one or the other, either crossing either a gate or stop signs. And I imagine people probably get comfortable with those after a while, which is risky business when you're talking about trains, and they roll through them. But if they roll through them in front of us, they're going to get stopped. Other than that, that's why we put out this public hearing, because we want to hear your input too. No one knows the neighborhood like you guys do, and when you bring problems to us, we'll try to fix them, but we also want your ideas too. And so if you have any suggestions, or if there's a particular car that, if you don't want to mention it in a public meeting, but you want to pull me aside afterwards, or shoot me a call, we'll deal with that too. So that's why we're all here.
Well, to me, the issues really started with everybody going rental. You get people that come in and they rent these places, and they just kind of like take over. I myself have gone out there and stood in front of these cars and stopped them, and just basically told them that, this is not a racetrack. This is not quarter-mile track, because it's a perfect quarter-mile track. People think they are, but but other than that, I personally don't see any major issues. I mean, everybody that I've talked to about the speed, I do have grandkids that play there, and I worry about them. They come around that corner, and even though the kids don't play in the road, if they just step out there, they could get hit, and then they're going to be dealing with a lot more than that. But I don't know. I have no solution, unless you want to put a police station down there. But that's up to you.
Is the rentals increased to just seasonal, or is it year round?
They're year round.
Yeah.
I mean, they were built back in 1984 as seasonal cottages, and they are not seasonal anymore. People live there year round. But
I have a question, because I was down there several times myself, and it's just for my own personal. There's about, once you get on the Noyes Road and go through the circle, there's about 20 houses. How many would you guess are seasonal, and how many are year-round? Do any of you know?
Out of the, well, Coming down the road, I would say that there's, the first section of the road, before the split, they're all year-round. Then as you come down around the corner there, in the loop itself...
That loop
there's
there.
11 cottages.
Right.
And out of that, there's 7 people that are full-time. There's 2 that are seasonal that are original owners. They've either sold them to people who live there, or they rent them. There's 3 rental properties there.
And that's Circle 3, and those are year-round rentals?
I'm in that circle, but I'm down right across from the water, and I've been there forever. I was there before the cottages, but so I'm year-round. I've always lived there. But the 11 cottages that are around me, behind me, it's all my fault because I supply them with water. So
Oh, you're in the
My
corner?
fault.
You're in the corner?
I'm in the corner there, yeah. I'm the bigger house down there.
Do you think it's worse in the summer? Someone's saying, yeah.
I think it's worse only because it's warmer and, on some of the rentals, there's one place, I won't pinpoint which one, but there's some young couples or young people that live there, and they have friends over, and at one point there was a Mustang down there with 4 young girls in it, and they were hooting and hollering, and they were just doing like 50 miles an hour around that corner. And I just walked out there and just stopped them flat out and said, you do this again, I said, you're either going to get a flat tire or you're going to get arrested. It's that simple. I didn't see them again, but I know one of those girls lives there, but they're rentals, and they're proud of it because they don't pay rent.
I mean, and we'll work on every angle, so, let's just say the car doesn't come back, but we know what house it came from. We'll go speak to the tenants, too, and if I don't get anywhere with the tenants, I'm going to the landlord next. But we'll deal with it. If it's a car and you get me the plate number, we're going to put them in our system, log that we spoke with them, log that we warned them. And if we get another complaint, maybe the next call is from someone else in the neighborhood who saw the car but didn't get the plate number. As long as we already have them in the system, we can summons them into court at that point, even though we didn't see the violation. But they're going to require us to get a witness at some point.
Well, see, the unfortunate thing is the people here from Noyes Road that are here right now are the ones that are willing to go out and stop these people and tell them to stop, and not start trouble. It's the people that don't care are the ones that aren't here.
The renters, or...
It's unfortunate.
Oh, they don't want to over you.
I mean, we'll keep the directed patrols going, and I'll increase them in the summertime. But what you're telling me kind of makes me think that some of the stuff could just happen any time of the year.
Right.
And so,
It happens.
I don't want to say that it's not going to happen now.
It happens more in the summer only because it's warmer and people are coming down there, and, everybody just hangs out down the beach area.
Yeah, I think, with the directed patrols, just communicate with me, keep me in the loop on how things are going and what you're seeing and who's doing what. And we'll, case by case, we'll come down and we'll cite who has to be cited and take to court who needs to go to court and talk to landlords and tenants, and we'll work with you. If you see anyone down there suspicious to any time of day and they don't belong down there, they don't look like they do, and you're like, that car doesn't belong down here, give us a call, because, especially during the day, I worry about burglaries and things like that, too.
Can we get a second road going out? I just thought I'd throw that in. One way in and one way out, not working good.
Well, unfortunately, I understand. I went down there to, really familiarize myself with the road. But part of the problem I see when you're trying to get out onto Route 3 is not anything that the town really can do anything about.
I
That
know
would be
that.
meeting with the state. Because part of the problem is where the road comes up and meets the state road, and it's not even like you have a really wide,
Right, then you got the hill coming down.
Right.
Yes.
You want to make a left, you got everybody coming this way.
right,
You sit there forever.
yep.
I know, I'm just throwing it out.
Where's that? Oh, Route 3 and, yeah. I know, we all agreed that's a tricky spot to get out of.
Yes, it is,
Takes you a half hour to get out.
Yeah, it's up.
In the summer.
yeah.
When I go out, I take a right, walk over the hill, and turn around, come back.
Have we ever pursued in the past a streetlight up there?
I don't,
Has that ever been pursued, do you know, Catherine?
Honestly,
Catherine Dawson has been here.
honestly, I don't think a street light would work, only because you've got that hill coming down over the golf course there, and if you hit a street light right coming down over that hill, you're going to have major accidents.
right,
Especially if it's
There all the
snowing.
time.
yep, that's Mr. Churchill.
Yeah, we're getting the same complaints in the Silver Lake Road area too, and then also the veterinary place for their employees getting in and
Right.
out. It's all those hills and valleys.
Yep,
They're all tough to get in and out of. And we keep, we do meet with DOT occasionally to bring these up to them, and we'll continue to keep meeting with them. But we want to hear your suggestions too,
What is the speed generally on an average with you folks not in the summertime? Is it generally kept down to an average, or is there...
It depends whether there are people that, sometimes if you have an accident, especially in the summer, if you have an accident on Route 3 somewhere, people see that side road and they just think that they can maybe go around the accident.
Okay.
They come down there.
Big mistake.
And there's no way in or out. I mean, there's one way in or out, and there's nothing they can do. I had an 18-wheeler come down there, and he went around that loop, and he took every fence in that loop out.
Was that this year?
No, that was a couple of years
Because
ago.
yeah.
But he took everything. He took all my bushes right out. All the shrubs were gone. The guy around the other corner there lost his whole fence, and the guy just kept right on going.
I suppose one thing that we could do to prevent that is to post it that there's no outlet.
and no
No
throughway.
outlet. That would be
Yeah.
a good thing. That would stop some of that.
Yeah, if people knew they weren't going to get anywhere by turning down that road, because I can appreciate, I know on the road I'm on, we get a lot of that, even 18-wheelers, if the traffic's heavy on Route 3, they'll come the back way, and it's like some of these big trucks that go through, the roads aren't designed for that kind of weight, so,
And the other issue is to try and define one way down there. Because if you come down that road, there's no signs saying one way. If you
Right, exactly.
go left,
yeah.
If you take a left, you're going the
it
wrong
says you're going the wrong way.
way.
It doesn't say that.
But
Right.
there's nowhere else coming in.
Right.
So everybody else on that side of the road comes out of their driveway and they're going down, they're literally going the wrong way.
Right.
So there were many times where I'm going around the road to come out, and as I come out, I have to slam my brakes on right in front of Jim's house because somebody's flying out of their driveway.
Yeah.
The wrong way.
And there's no direction there, and if a sign or something, I mean,
That happened
I
to
don't
me.
know.
And I was picking up Mrs. Toll. I went by, picked her up, came by, and someone was coming in, and I was going out. There was no room for two of us.
I'd take a ride down with Dennis and we can look at it together.
I think that if there was a sign, because I went there this morning, this afternoon, and if there was a sign, one way, arrow there, and then you continued around, but it's just a one-way here, and you take a left, stands to reason, I am going one way. But if there was a wrong way on the top, or,
Do not enter.
enter only, or whatever,
Do not enter.
exit only, or something, and make that loop
No,
more
do-
definitive than it would be, because we did have that problem, and it was the very first time I ever picked up Mrs. Toll. It's the first time I've ever been down Noyes Road, so when I turned the corner, I had a big I have a big Explorer. There was another person just whipping around the corner, coming to me. I said, where do I pull over?
Right on the right, when they come out.
Well, that's it. I mean, when you start going down the road, the cottages are on the left, all those homes there, when they come out of their driveway, they're not going to go around the loop. They come straight down at you.
And same with the ones on the right.
And, you know, you can't blame them, but
Well, no, you
It's
can't
just-
blame them, but
it's not a
you
dangerous-
really have to have it
it's a dangerous
one way.
situation.
Yeah.
Who's wrong and who's right if you have an accident?
Right.
Exactly. What's the posted speed limit there now? 20.
May I bring up a non-speed enforcement safety issue? When you get to the railroad tracks and you continue to go straight towards the lake, the road takes a left-hand slight curve. And once you get in a couple of 100 feet, it's blocked off from seeing the traffic that's coming the other way. And part of that problem is exacerbated in the summertime is that they've let birch trees and other saplings grow right up to the edge of the road. And the birch trees get there in bloom, they actually stick out into the road about 3 feet. So cars coming up in the right lane from the lake have to get over into the left lane on a blind corner. Now in the winter with the leaves gone, it's better. But in the summertime, you can't see beyond that first major telephone pole.
That would be a Dennis item?
Yeah, the east.
Yeah.
Does anyone know how far back the town owns to clear that?
That's crossing miles, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, there and all the way up to just
Yeah.
beyond Warren's Drive.
It's different in different,
Yeah.
with different roads from the center of the
And
road,
that's-
depending on what kind of class road it is and
That's what my
where it is.
family sees
I'll go down and
as
get
a
your
safety
book.
issue is we get to the bottom of our driveway and nobody's coming and you pull out and anybody going over the speed limit is right there on top of you. But there will eventually probably be an accident there. Not
You
real-
can't have them hanging over onto the road. I mean, that's definitely, if it causes a vehicle to make a turn to avoid those branches, that's a problem. That's an issue that you obviously have to deal with.
Yeah, there's even that RSA that if stuff overgrown causes a safety issue. Remember, Joyce, we had to look that RSA up? Where even on private property, it has to be cleared.
It's less of an issue
Right.
on the Route 3 side of the railroad tracks.
Mm-hmm.
From the tracks up halfway to where that big...
Bend is, I know, yeah, know exactly where you're talking, yeah.
In the summer. As the leaves come out, it gets worse.
Sometimes if it's,
Pardon me?
Telephone?
Yeah, when Asplund, is that how you say it? When they came in this winter, or last winter, they cleared some of it out and made it better, but it's still, their trees are still out in the road.
no, I had something similar with one of our stop signs, and I asked the landowner, I said, do you mind so people can see my stop sign if I clear those bushes annually? And he said, yeah, no problem, and I spoke with Dennis, and so we've been making it work that way, you know.
There is a certain, Sandy's going to check, but there's a certain distance where PSNH and Verizon just will clear their right-of-way along the edge. They have a 10-year plan that they do. It's probably what it was last year, and their 10-year plan, they just only trim enough so that it's within the line of sight for their poles. They don't trim any more than that, but
And
That's 15 feet.
from the center of the road.
15 feet from the wire, either side.
From the edge of the right-of-way.
In between the pole,
If it's going over your property, you have to cut 15 feet either side of it.
right.
I'm trying to remember now, it was way back in the 80s, early 80s, when we approached the town to take over Boys Road, and we had to get it up to spec. You know, we all paid $300-something thousand to get it up, and we did that. But because of the closeness of the homes to the road, we couldn't go with a standard specifications of a road, which is what, 50 feet? So I believe it was 25 feet. So from the center of the road, 12 and a half feet on either side is what Noyes Road is. And they turned it into a cul-de-sac or a one-way in order to be able to send the plows down there. But as for who owns what, I have no idea. I do know when they did put the road in there, they took about 4 feet of my property, because I'm right on the corner and moved around. And, you know, I don't care, because it's now paved and maintained. But I was down there when it was dirt, and I had to walk groceries from Route 3 and down to my house every day.
Wow.
Couldn't drive.
And part three of the issue is that as soon as it snows, the town doesn't plow the full width of the road. So we have a substandard road of, what's it, 24 feet, 25 feet to
25
asphalt?
feet, yeah.
2 12-foot lanes, probably.
So the road ends up going down less 3 feet on each side, and you've got a road that is not passable by 2 cars. So you have to slow down to a crawl. If there's a truck there, one of you, a little bit of extra attention by the town maintenance department and getting that to the edge of the asphalt,
So he only
greatly appreciated.
goes in and comes out once? Just goes in and swings
I
out?
believe he does it twice,
He
but
does
he
it
doesn't
twice.
go to the edge of the asphalt. They will come through after the snowbanks build up big high and they use their wing off the ground and do push it back, but it's a no-salt road.
Right.
And we have the running stop to get out of Noyes Road onto Route 3, because if you get on that hill and you don't have snow tires on all 4 wheels or all-wheel drive, you're done. I mean, that's when people blow off the stop sign, is when they do a rolling stop at Route 3. You know, it's, I understand, but...
That's a suicide rolling away, but...
I've seen
So
that too.
that in on the corners in front of the Toll's house and by John's house, because of the length of the big, huge plow dump truck, they don't catch that inner corner. And that can build up to be 6 inches high plus with an ice sheet. There's actually those 3 corners all the way around.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they do plow. And, you know, I've never had an issue with that, but they don't. They just come in and they do 1 sweep. They do 2 sweeps, but only 1 wide, so it's not the full road. And you know, Bill's definitely right on that. Because I know there were times I had to back out of my driveway, and I couldn't even back out. One time I had to call a buddy just to come down and clear out the snow behind me, just so I could drive, because it was just so built up over the season that there's just no room to turn.
I'm just trying to visualize where he actually plows it to. I mean,
It all goes right with the big truck. So it goes down the one way, and everything's going to the right side.
Right.
Yeah, like
Right.
Lois's house.
so does it,
It's not a power angle
It's on
plow.
Lois's
it's a fixed
side.
plow.
so it goes to the right by Lois's, and then
And
when
I'm
he
right
comes...
across the street from Lois,
Okay,
and right in front of the beach area.
yeah,
And when I back out, I can't make that back out turn.
Okay.
Because the snow is right there. It's only because he didn't go the whole length of the road.
Because the front tip
Okay.
of that
But
fixed angle plow is so
ideal.
far out from the back wheels, he can't cut it short or else he'll put his back wheels up on the person's yard. So he has to kind of go beyond the angle and pull over, and he misses a whole big 4-foot wide thing right on the corner. A 1-ton dump truck with a power angle plow would take care of that issue.
add that on there, power angle. I don't think we have the power angles on the 1
Been
tons.
there, done that.
The 1 ton has the power angle?
Well, the
They're talking about the big heavy trucks with the big heavy plows.
With the wings, but they don't.
Whereas a 1-ton down there where you could angle where you're putting the snow would have more maneuverability to get in and around there. They could push it off to both the right and the left.
There's quite a lip also in front of where the railroad tracks is. You go in, there's a dip. It's like, so in the wintertime, that's got to pack up with ice. I noticed that going and coming, it just dips sort of on the Noyes Road side of the railroad track. There's a huge dip just right there.
Is that one
That
of
should be the
those,
railroad, not us.
Is that a new
That's-
salt road?
Yeah,
That's snowmobiles.
that's more of a settlement, I think, of the
Yeah.
road there. It's settled over years, because I know when they put that burn in right there, I mean, it was great, for many years. I think over time, it's just settled and causes a little drop.
You can definitely feel it. And I'm sure when plowing, I would say that would be an issue because you'd never be able to get that.
Yeah, you might peel up the tracks. Santa won't like that.
I wouldn't. You folks have anything?
What you're in for?
On Noyes Road?
Well, no.
Okay, well then, no problem.
Have the old Grady house.
Excuse me?
We bought the old Grady.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah.
Which one is that?
I haven't met
The
you
old
yet.
brown one, you're across from us.
I'm right next to you.
Oh,
Right before you on the left.
Actually, your husband plowed my driveway for me.
Oh, this last winter in January. Yeah, we went snowmobiling from there last year.
But get right out on the railroad track.
Yes.
Now, is that a snowmobile trail up along the track?
the track.
Yeah, they're allowed to run this.
How many miles does that go?
From Concord
Could go to
Wyoming.
Concord.
Oh, okay.
From January 1st until, I think it's
March.
April 1st or March 31st, the railroad tracks are closed and it's open to snowmobilers.
And they have stop signs right there at Noyes Road too, so most of them use
Do you
it.
have an issue where they're dragging snow off of that into the Noyes Road and creating, because I know it
Yeah,
happens
but
on
that's-
Manville
that's-
Road.
That's New England.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think you're ever gonna stop that.
Might be an issue if people are stopping at the stop sign.
Actually, gets to be a pretty good speed bump, so people do stop.
Yeah.
Their undercarriage is gone if they zip over that.
I imagine they would. Well, we have a couple of things that we can go forward, and there are some things that we can correct, fairly simple corrections.
Is there anything specifically you need us to do? Grab license plates or?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Pick up the phone and call if something is amiss.
How about out-of-towner contractors coming in and filling up the dumpster? We need to grab license plates for that too?
Yes.
Yeah, all of
Absolutely.
that.
Is that dumpster only for the association?
No,
That's for everybody
it's for
down.
Noyes Road.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Instead of sending a rubbish truck all the way around the road, they just go to the dumpster.
I'm taking a lot of stuff out of that dumpster that people throw in that ain't supposed to be in there. TVs, air conditioners,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
People
I
just
mean, I ain't gonna take
get
them
carried
home, I
away.
don't want 'em. I just put them on the ground. Right now, there's a mattress down there somebody threw down.
Seriously.
It's been a problem off and on over the years. People go down the road and
Well, that's a
stuff in the
violation
dumpster
of that,
to get rid of it.
of the
Where's that dumpster saying?
our refuse ordinances, so,
Going in.
anything like that that you see
Oh,
also.
yeah, all right.
Get their
When you
license
before the
plate,
tracks.
say,
When you
car such and such, just dump the TV in the dumpster.
I work with T&L Concrete, and he's got a dumpster over his house. He come home one day and there was 8 TVs in it. somebody don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they went right on his property, right down his driveway.
Or you have to pay to get rid of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Had to pay to get rid of them.
Take the cheap route.
One thing that Tilton does allow in the fall, on our fall cleanup, they will take TVs. So keep that in mind. You can tell them, the end of October, you can get rid of that for nothing. Of course, they don't want to hold on to it till then if it happens to be March or April, but
But Samberton has gone to purple bags or something?
they've been like that since the
Easy
early
throw.
90s.
Because there's a definite amount of out-of-towners now in throwing stuff in the dumpster.
Again, if you see that, call town hall or call
I'll
the
call the
police.
chief. The chief will give you his telephone number.
Yeah, and report it.
His minutes on
because-
his cell phone will go way up now.
They already are.
So if I call the chief at 2:30 in the morning... and
I'll
tell him
answer.
that-
He'll answer,
I
actually.
actually
He
answer,
will answer your phone.
and I'll even come out. As long as you make coffee, I'll show up.
I've done it. He'll answer.
A lot of people in town have.
He texted me at 12:49 a.m. last night.
I know.
Were you surprised I answered?
Yeah.
It happens. So, is anything else? We can slow the speed down, speed it up? Streetlights.
Well, with the railroad tracks, where we're supposed to stop and look, isn't the railroad supposed to clear the brush?
Yes,
Yes, they are.
they are. Yes,
Even with my Dodge pickup, I'm not high enough up to look down on one side.
yes, they are. And we asked them, we brought that issue up when we met with them up on the Silver Lake Road issue that we had. We had Bill Lambert and Mark Morrill from New Hampshire Department of Transportation. We asked them to take a look at Noyes Road and with the brush. And again, prior to that, we asked them again
On Manville, too.
on Manville Road, because MB Tractor wants to go in and they wanted to make some corrections there. We asked them again to look at Noyes Road, Railroad, because they own that brush area.
I don't think they did this year.
Well, we have, Joyce, do you want to send them a little reminder?
Yeah, I contacted the Bureau of Railroads, but I'll also contact Bill.
Well, contact them again, the Bureau of Railroads, and just copy Bill on it,
Yeah,
and then ask him to get back to us with an answer on it.
right.
Because that is, I agree with that, that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah, the brush is too high.
Very part-time rail.
Yeah,
Leaf paper weekends and stuff like that. So they probably don't want to put a lot of money in that upkeep.
They don't run it
They
during
don't pay
the
anything.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anything go actually across that.
They have a seasonal, the trains down here that they convert, they have a seasonal quarterly
They have
Run.
holiday runs,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, Christmas.
that they run through, so,
fall
Also,
color.
Talk about those little private cars.
Oh, no, the ones downtown?
They're like the glorified little...
I believe those are condos, but they belong to people.
also, I mean, 3M does get tank cars of clay slurry, and they have to go up to the siding beyond Noyes Road to reverse the engine in the car so that they can go back to 3M's spur and drop the car off. So they do have to cross Noyes Road.
Right.
Because they don't get them in as often as they used to even, but they do get them.
you had a question?
Chief, does a white line in the road increase the visibility of the stop sign? Or does it have no effect?
I think it does.
There's no white lines there. I don't know if that would, I mean, there's no way.
You mean at the tracks?
Tracks Road look one-way sign or?
At the tracks. I don't know whether that'd be a waste of money.
Well, that would be at, that would be DOT, or would that be Dallas?
I mean, he has places in town he does.
It's definitely too late for white lines now.
Yeah.
because you have to do it at a certain
But
temperature.
in the spring,
But in the spring, I mean, he does it in May, June, and then he does it again in the fall.
I believe there's one up at Route 3 in North Road.
We can
yeah, there'd
certainly
definitely be
make,
one there, yeah.
we can really make, certainly make a note of that and bring that up, put that on there. Joyce, so we're going to ask Dennis if he'd take a ride up with the chief and go over a couple of the issues that we've talked about tonight. One of them is trying to maintain that edge coming off of the circle with the brushes hanging into the road, the plowing,
Signage.
the signage, and look at the lines on the road. And the signage on Route 3 as well, no outlet or... We can order one of those now, so we could do that now.
I was looking at this on Google Maps. You guys are in your own little world down there.
I think for some chance they want to be too.
You order a pizza and they come down there and they say, wow, where did this place come from?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't know it existed until I was a selectman. They said Noyes Road, and I said, what? Noyes Road.
I see what you mean about those corners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, originally, when you're going around there and you got that sharp corner, the road actually used to come down and go like a teardrop. And then the guy in the brown house there, who owned it originally, he wanted to sell that house, but he didn't have enough property, so he took the road, and it was his road. This guy here, and moved it. So now it comes like that, instead of a teardrop.
Shoot out like that.
Yeah. Which wasn't real bad, but he screwed it up.
Shoot it back up.
Huh?
Well, my fault, he wouldn't tell the house. Town's the one who did that to him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I bet those roads get pretty narrow when we got like
Yeah.
3 feet of snow.
Yeah. Oh, when you get a fire engine down there.
Yeah.
Well, it was pretty narrow when we picked up Lowe's a couple of times last year. It was very narrow. You could barely get the Explorer, and I had to go out and shovel into a place. And that's that corner. You know where she lives.
Oh, yeah.
That's that corner that they're talking about when they come around the plow.
Just buries it.
Well, it's 4 feet. That's what he's saying. Another 4 feet. But it's like, another 4 feet is long. Maneuvering that big
Blade.
blade.
Yeah.
You may not be able to do it. All right, any more other questions, concerns, or comments, or anything? Well, thank you all for coming out and giving us your suggestions and
Yes.
concerns. It was greatly appreciated. I will close the public hearing for Noyes Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You too.
Take
No.
care.
I'm guilty for running that stop sign.
All right, we'll mail it. We'll mail it to you.
Don't do that.
Don't forget to call him.
Every so often, there never used to be one there. And all of a sudden they put them
Catches you by surprise.
on. Last year they went one out to the end of the road.
There was nothing in the road book, but it does give me a reference plan to look at to see the road, so I'll look it up on the internet. Going to Belknap County.
You're on the right or
look at
left?
The plan to see what kind of right-of-way
Yeah.
it's got.
Yeah,
They said it
yeah,
wasn't.
that's, all right.
No, it's only 25 feet, it's very narrow.
All right, I'll
But
keep
there
in
may
mind.
be some, I don't know, I'll have to look.
Never heard that name before.
Yeah,
Good, good.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
yeah.
Not there talking about?
Yeah,
But anyway, I got the information, I'll go online and look at it and see what,
Well, there's
huh?
trail.
Yes,
no, that's over off of
James
me.
Davis.
This must be where
Yep.
the gentleman that was talking lives.
No, didn't Jerry
This is the
share?
guy that was in the very back row. He did most of the talking, John. And these two people were the ones sitting the furthest
Provide an
away.
outlet or anything.
Great. Okay.
All right.
What happened to our two people that brought all of this forward? They didn't come?
No, they didn't come back.
I don't understand that. Huh. Okay.
Other little road they were talking about. There's no other road there. Here's the railroad.
Yeah.
Here's Noyes
He
Road.
mentioned
Is this
another
what they're talking about? We have to kind of snake around?
The loop there, the whole loop.
No, now it goes this way and you come out, but this is not a road anymore. This one's not a road anymore. Wait a minute. This is the road. This is not a loop anymore. It comes out sharp and then takes a right.
Have that.
This is,
But it's one way going this way, right?
yes, and this is where he's saying that it comes this way, and he doesn't, it's about 4 to 6 feet over here that he doesn't catch, because this is where Mrs. Toll lives, right here.
Oh,
We
we
pick up.
thought that was that guy. Isn't that where he lives?
No, he lives here in the corner.
Oh, he lives down there.
This is Mrs. Toll.
Oh.
And then
Where's this driveway? How does he get there?
right into here. Goes on an angle. And this is the other one that we had, the abatement. The abatement, right
Oh,
here.
Hupper, yeah.
I just assumed.
And so this is where the trees are going over the road?
No, right here. Right here with the birch, right all along here.
Now, so where's Northern, where's Sandy? Because the town did it, the Northern Shores Noyes Road development, where they redid the road and put in sewer. So maybe Northern Shores must be the name of their development. Because they pay betterment fees. It's Northern Shores. Remember there, we had the Noyes Road, Northern Shores. So that's the name of the group, the development? Okay. Because they put in the road and sewer. Northern Shores.
I put it all in
Joyce, can, on the contract for Cross Insurance, these are I need I can probably work with you tomorrow on, they need a completion date and the date of acceptance. That was that.
We haven't accepted it yet, have we?
There's been no change in what we've paid out, and that we're still waiting.
Final contract price? What was the final contract price? Has the amount been fully paid?
No.
Was the work satisfactory?
Not yet. And what we fill in, I think I attached the most recent letter that he sent to Hills on what needs to be done. I think, lift up one. Yeah, that's what still needs to be done. We're going to withhold $6,000, so the project isn't complete yet.
Is this yours, or was this with the book?
The book. What's the percent of work that has been completed to date?
I'd go with what we have the payment, until we get a new payment requisition. Do you want to wait till we get that? That would be more, give them more, because this is still from February.
Can't, because they're right there.
4,000 gallon holding tank.
So let me walk you out. I'm just going to ask him to go downstairs so we can go on with the meeting.
If you have, are we all finished with everything that needs to be finished in public? Everything? And we did not get numbers back from Tim, right? All right, so we're not going to wait on that. Okay.
Well, I don't want to toss you out.
Sorry, we thought you were done.
No.
Okay,
I really appreciate you coming in.
I kind of wanted to see what was going on.
Just look at your confidential file and see what's...
this is all legal. We're talking about is all legal.
Oh. We wanted to show that to you first, before we gave it to Lauren.
Oh, I know.
Doesn't quite need it. We'd have to, what Lauren will say is that you would have to abate the difference if you, this is the person that doesn't qualify.
Okay, I was the Grinch. Everybody's going.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to enter into non-public session as per RSA 91A:3. This is C, matters discussed in public would likely adversely affect the reputation of any other person other than a member of the body or agency itself unless such persons request an open meeting. And then legal, which would be E.
Second?
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes. Did everybody sign this?
Okay, you're ready again.
No, I'm saying it. Okay, I make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to,
Legal.
no, that would be
Reputation.
Legal?
reputation,
Yeah.
no, because that's, until the matters are resolved. And legal, until the matters are resolved.
Second.
Yes.
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 I make
I
a
move we
motion, we
adjourn.
adjourn?
Any discussion on that?
No, not really.
Undebatable.
I just think it's great we're getting out
Aye.
at 8:30 at night.
Catherine, the only thing I'll need at some point is just their motion, because Cindy won't sign this without a motion.
What's that?
The joint board.
We did, we made a motion.
I know, I'll need a copy of it, though.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing, appointing Joe and Dennis to the co-op. I don't know what you did with the bag, Joyce, but here's the trash can bag.
Okay, it's red. I don't know how to... I'll let you take the camera down. I don't...
Well, where did this come from?
What is this?
His payment schedule. Mr. Nichols.
Oh, that's mine. Trying to sort through papers.
Huh?
I didn't realize what I was buying, it was buy one, get one free.
Has he been keeping to the schedule? Mm-hmm. But now he owes for sewer.
I'm gonna leave this FYI folder
I'm sorry, I
for,
can't hear you, Catherine.
Yeah, the payroll over there.
Yes, payroll and tables.
All right, I'm gonna go put this book back and I'll start locking up the doors.
You still have that recycle box? Is that it?